Hello, everybody. How's it going out there in the vinyl community? I'm Craig, and this is Spirit of Vinyl. Hope you guys all had a great week. Hope everything's going well for everybody. I'm rocking my Sunday night vinyl confessions in honor of Steve and the end of an era. Steve, if you're out there still watching, I know you had moved on to bigger and brighter things, but if you're still watching, I'd like to thank you one more time. I really appreciate everything you did for me back in the day. And I want to thank Trevor and Marsha for finishing off Sunday Night Vinyl Confessions in style. I had a great time, and the one time I was on that show, it was an end of an era, so to say. So, well, that being out of the way, I want to talk to you guys. Let's see, tomorrow night. I'm going to see Megadeth for probably, I don't know, maybe the 20th time in my life. Just be the second time in the last 3 years I've seen him. And I think it's the fourth time I've taken my son. Me and my son are going to go see Megadeth. So, probably my favorite band of all time, besides Kiss, of course. I'm a huge Kiss fan, but when it comes to thrash, I am a Megadeth fan. To me, Megadeth is the best thrash band out of those thrash bands. I will take Megadeth. This isn't distant from any of the other, especially the big four. I will take Megadeth over them all. I feel like their discography is stronger than all the other ones. I can name that other band, but I know I just pissed all you guys off. Metallica. But I think Megadeth is a far superior band. Dave's a better songwriter and better guitar player. And, I love his voice, and I just love everything they've ever done. Even, Risk. I even think Risk is a great album, too, although I don't own that on vinyl. So we're going to talk about Megadeth today because that's what I've been doing this week to get ready for the show. So we're just going to talk. I'm going to talk about the first few albums here. Megadeth, Killing Is My Business, and Business Is Good. Came out in 1985. This is the 2018 repress called The Final Kill. Megadeth, Killing Is My Business, and Business Is Good, The Final Kill. Pretty cool. See, The Final Kill. This has got a bonus disc of like live material and things like that on it. I haven't listened to the live part as much as I have the other ones, but there's your track listing right there. Pretty cool stuff. It's a really nice repress, actually. If you get a chance to pick this up, this is a really good sounding press. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a pretty good, great press here. So it has these, here's the inner sleeves on both of them there. And the vinyl is pressed on this cool see-through clear red. They're both the same color. So here's the other sleeve. It's just got lyrics on it. And yeah, you can see that one's the same as the other one. So honestly, this is, pretty cool album, their debut. I like it. It's a little rough. It's a little raw. Last Rites, Love You to Death, Skull Beneath the Skin, Killing Is My Business, Rattlehead on side one. Side two's got Chosen Ones, Mechanics, Looking Down the Cross, and These Boots. And then the live stuff, like I said, I've only played the live stuff. I've only played the live record once or twice, but I've listened to the original copy on more than one occasion. It's got the same. Let's see here. Hey, look, I was looking to see what the track listing was, and both inner sleeves have the same listing on it. So that's their debut. And I did not know of Megadeth at the time when Killing Is My Business came out. I discovered Megadeth when this album came out. Peace sells, but who's buying? I saw the video for Peace Sells on MTV, and I was hooked, and I've been hooked ever since. So this is my first foray into Megadeth. This came out in 1986. This is an 08 repress. It's one of these classic Capitol represses. There's your back cover. Classic thrash right here. Wake Up Dead, Conjuring, Peace Sells, Devil's Island, Good Morning Black Friday, Bad Omen, Ain't Superstitious, and My Last Words. This is a pretty good sounding press too. Capitol did a really good job on that. There's your inner sleeve. This kick-ass picture of Vic on here. On the other side, it's got lyrics and so on. Came with a plain inner sleeve and nice black vinyl with the Capitol labels, the Megadeth logo on there. Very cool. What can be said about Peace Sells? Like I said, that's when I first discovered him. I saw the video for Peace Sells on MTV back in '86, and I was hooked ever since. And I became a huge Megadeth fan. I was one of those 1980s stoner kids who listened to thrash and the 80s metal, the pop metal type stuff. Rat was one of my favorites at the time. But I had a friend who was into Metallica and Slayer and stuff and Megadeth. And so we were into all the thrash music too when it first started coming out. But I was really into Megadeth. In fact, my battle jacket, we all had battle jackets with the patches on it. Mine was a Megadeth one. It had the front cover of Peace Sells on it. The big patch was the Peace Sells, and it had the Megadeth logo over the top, and then all the other stuff all over the place. So that's kind of how big of a fan I've been since like 1986. So I would have been 79, I don't know, 16, 17, something like that. All right, next up. So Far So Good, So What? This is from 1988. I just picked this up. This is a 2024 repress. They just repressed this album officially, and it sounds pretty damn good. And a lot of people don't care for this album. They don't think it's one of their stronger albums, and I can kind of agree, but I also tend to disagree. It's more about nostalgia for me. I was so into this when it came out. I was so waiting for this. It's got Anarchy in the UK, Set the World Afire, Into the Lungs of Hell, 502. It's got In My Darkest Hour. That's enough right there. One of the coolest, kind of this mellow thing that gets really heavy. What a great song. Great lyrics. I love that song. I love this album. There's got lyrics on one side, got a picture of the band on the other side, and this is going to be the end of this lineup, I think. I think this is only for one album, if I remember correctly. It was just this one. And the Capitol once again released it, so it's got the same label as the last one, with the rainbow colors and the Megadeth logo in the middle. The thing is about So Far So Good, So What for me, I call this show The Spirit of Vinyl, and the reason I do that is because I talk about, I often forget, but I'm trying to be better about it, talking about what the music makes me feel like and what it reminds me of, and the spirit of these records and what they mean to people and what they mean to us. So, So Far So Good, So What? That album to me right here, it came out in 1988, so I would have been 18 going on 19. Actually, in 88, I would have been 19 years old. And I was sort of lost, I guess you'd say, and kind of just, basically a semi-employed drug addict straight out of high school, barely make it out of high school. But I do remember when this album came out, albums used to come out on Tuesdays, and I had my friend Jennifer drive me down to the mall, and I go into Record Bar. You guys remember Record Bar, right? And I go in and say, hey, I'm here where's the new Megadeth album? Why isn't it out? They're like, oh yeah, it's in the back, still in the boxes. I'm like, well, go get it then. It's supposed to be out today. So they went back, cut the box open. I bought it on cassette at the time. And so in my area in Ogden, Utah, when I at that age, I was the first person, probably the first person to buy the record in Utah, honestly, because I made him go open the box and get it out for me. All right, next up, 1990, Rust in Peace, often cited as one of the greatest thrash albums of all time, right up there with Master of Puppets and Rain and Blood. Yeah, I could almost agree with that. Almost. It's not even my favorite Megadeth album, though. So, Rust in Peace, 1990. This is a 2023 press. It is an unofficial press, and it just says it's from Europe. There's your back cover. What can be said about this album? It is one of the greatest thrash albums of all time. Holy Wars, Punishment Due, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners, Five Magics, Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, Dawn Patrol, and Rust in Peace. I mean, come on, man. You can't get a better thing of that. And this is when what we like to consider the classic Megadeth lineup. There we go. Marty Friedman, Dave Evelson, Nick Minza, and Dave Mustaine. These guys put out 4 records in a row, I think, with this lineup. This is the classic, greatest Megadeth lineup. 1990, I saw them on this tour. Actually, we go back this. This is also the first time I saw Megadeth when I saw them open for Dio. So the first time I saw Megadeth live was on So Far So Good, So What? And they opened for Ronnie James Dio. I had second row, center. For some reason, they had 4 seats at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City for, a Dio Megadeth show. Bunch of dipshits. So then this one comes out next, man. Rust in Peace. What a killer record this is. This takes Megadeth, it explodes them. It makes them big. I mean, one of the biggest thrash bands at the time. They were huge, This album was huge. It sold a lot of copies. Here's the inner sleeve, which is nice and glossy. It's basically just this picture kind of folded in half. Makes me wish it came unfolded. It would be a kick-ass poster to hang on the wall. The vinyl itself is this cool blue color. And like I said, this is an unofficial press. It sounds pretty good. You can tell it comes from a digital source, obviously. And you need to turn up the volume on these a little bit. And these next couple are also going to be unofficials, the same thing. Just got to turn up the volume, but it sounds pretty damn good. The problem with this one, which they could have made it better, let's pull this out so we can take a better look. Can you see where the grooves end about halfway through? Yeah, you can kind of see that. Doesn't make sense to have all the record only go to there when you have all this space. If they would have pressed this out a little bit more, it probably would have sounded a lot better. It lacks a little bit of depth due to that. So, but yeah, Rust in Peace, great record. What can you say? All right, next up, Countdown to Extinction, 1992. This is a 2022 repress. It is also an unofficial repress from Europe. This is my favorite Megadeth album, especially of the early one, and of that classic lineup. I love this record. It's got Skin of My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction, Architecture of Aggression, Foreclosure of a Dream, Sweating Bullets, This Was My Life, and that's only side 1. And then Countdown to Extinction, High Speed Dirt, Psychotron, Captive Honor, and Ashes in Your Mouth. What a fucking great track listing. And these songs still hold up. I mean, listen to Countdown to Extinction today and think about where we are in America right now and listen to those lyrics. And, it's still relevant to this day in 2024. 30 years later, the lyrics for Countdown to Extinction are still relevant. Every election cycle that happens in this country, I think of this record. I think of this song. You take a mortal man, you put him in control. You watch him become a god. Watch people's heads roll. I mean, that's what it is. That's where we're at. Sorry, don't want to get political, but I've been listening to this kind of music my whole life. You can't help but be a little bit political with it. That's what I love about Megadeth. Their songwriting, their lyrics, just the great guitar work and everything else. So, yeah, to me, out of the Effelson, Mustaine, Friedman, Menza lineup of Megadeth, this is my favorite record out of that lineup. This is my favorite record. I like this more than Rust in Peace. I get what Rust in Peace is. Rust in Peace is a great technical masterpiece, but this is they're just firing on all cylinders all together. I think this is a great record, and I think it kind of gets forgotten because Rust in Peace is lauded so well and brought up in such good heights. People forget that this was the follow-up. They had this cool little insert with it. Got the lyrics on one side. It's got this painting on the other side. Pretty cool stuff. And this one's also blue, but kind of a different shade. And like I said, not bad for an unofficial press. You just got to turn the volume up a little bit. Same thing, probably taken from a digital source, um, probably taken from CD or whatever. So, and Euthanasia, 1994. This is also the same lineup as the last one. And it's got Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, A Tu Lamone, Elysian Fields, The Killing Road, Blood of Heroes, Family Tree, Euthanasia, I Thought I Knew It All, Black Curtains, and Victory. There's the back cover. You've got Vic with a little baby in his hand. You got the babies hanging upside down. It's another great record. There's the inner sleeve with it. There's a picture of the band in their heyday, honestly. There's the other side there. I love this painting. I don't know if this was honestly in the original or if this is something these people put together on here because it was cool looking. I'm not sure. This one is like a pink splatter. And this one sounds really good also. This one's got a little bit better output than the other two. And I'm not sure who's putting these unofficials out. And honestly, I'm finding them at my local record store. I found all these at my local record store. As soon as you see it and you don't have it, you buy it. You're not even looking to see if it's official or unofficial. Honestly, trying to find these as official presses, I don't have that kind of money. So, I'll buy what I can until they repress them, and then I'll buy them again. Because I'm that big of a fan, I will replace the pressings if they keep repressing. Capitol just put out So Far So Good, So What? So that means it's almost time for Rust in Peace. If Capitol's doing that, keep going and give us some new represses. I would love that. I would love to hear that. So that's all I'm going to show today. I've got Megadeth tomorrow with Mudvayne, All That Remains. So it's going to be a hell of a killer show. I got to think back, it's probably at least the 15th or 16th time, maybe more, that I've seen Megadeth. I saw, like I said, the first time I saw them, they opened for Dio. I was lucky enough to see them on the Clash of the Titans tour with Slayer and Anthrax and Alice in Chains. I've seen them with Testament and just on and on and on. I see them every time they come to town. I missed them last year, whatever tour that was, where they were opening for Five Finger Death Punch. They were coming to town, and I'm like, I don't necessarily just want to see Megadeth as an opening act, opening for Five Finger Death Punch. Nothing against Five Finger Death Punch. I think their early albums are great, but I passed on that one. I think I had another show to go to around the same time, and just money-wise. And like I said, this is going to be the second time in 3 years I've seen Megadeth. And my kid, it'll be his third time. His first concert I took him to was Megadeth. So, we've got that thing with that, even though he wasn't born until 2005, he's a pretty big Megadeth fan too. He was 9 years old. I took him to see Megadeth as his very first concert. His mom was like, he's too young for a concert. I'm like, bullshit, he's going. So we're going again tomorrow night. Last show of the tour in Nashville. I think Dave lives in Nashville, so that'll be 2 tours in a row. I've seen him where the last date is in Nashville. Always nice to see that when you can see him on the last date of a tour because they've gotten all the bugs worked out, right? Rather see a tour towards the end rather than the beginning. I feel like all the bugs and sound issues and everything else, it should be an awesome show. Wish me luck. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys all next week. Have a good one, guys.